What's up, Buttercup? I'm Pam Barnes, marketing expert.
And I'm Hannah Cox, business strategist.
And this is the Go Getter Gals podcast,
where everyday gals grow together and you'll find resources to help you grow personally and professionally. What is today's topic?
Okay, so today is all about self, right? How to define who you are today. What does this mean, to you? Like, who are you in your inner world? We are the sum total. Here's something that I heard recently that I absolutely loved. We are the sum total of all of our experiences in the world. But who are we as the individual? What's genetics and what is, training and just the world dribbling all of that fun stuff into us? That's not the right word, but you know what I mean, guys.
Right. And I know when we were talking about this episode, we were trying to come up with questions other than just, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
So I know one of the things that we talked about were like childhood skills. And the big question is, when we think about childhood skills, the easiest way to think about that is, what do you feel like comes easy to you that others find difficult?
Yes. Okay. Because this goes into genetics, right? Like my family, we are all ADD, ADHD. I'm just going to say, and the women, we are like hyperactive. We talk a lot, and most of us aren't shy when it comes to getting in front of the stage and doing all that stuff. So for me, my childhood skills would be ADHD. A lot of people see that as a weakness, but I don't. I can do a ton of things at once and I can do pretty well at them. I know I totally like space for a minute because I was going to say something else, but we'll hold off on that one for a minute. So basically, my skills is ADHD and also, I was raised by a mom that helped everyone, right? And that's more of like, you've got your DNA, but then you have your other. And my other is by my experiences. My mother helped everyone and I love to help others. I've been that way since I was itty bitty bitty bitty. So yeah. What about you, Hannah?
Wow, that's so interesting that you like connect what you do well to like genetics. When you said that, I all of a sudden was like, wait a second. I don't think that what I do well is necessarily genetic. And I was trying to think about like my parents and my grandparents. I was like, who also exhibited this skill? And just on the spot, I'm having a hard time thinking about it. I feel like my experiences in life probably helped me become the kind of person who's really good at taking a vision, taking a really big idea and breaking it down into tangible, achievable, approachable steps. So everything I've ever wanted to do, anything that people in my life have wanted to do, I feel like just coming from my background and my experiences, I got really good at trying to turn everything I've wanted into something smaller, tangible, and achievable to get me closer to those goals. And so it is interesting that you connect to genetics because I really didn't.
Yeah, see, everybody's different. But again, with the ADHD, like I taught myself everything that I know, right? And I don't know if I could have done that without being able to do a ton of things at once. I am obsessed with, you like the bigger picture. I like the bigger picture too, and I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with, okay, but then there's this red. Okay, how do you make this color red? Let me like totally hone in on that and get every bit of information I possibly can. And then I take that and I move it into other things. And that's why I love marketing so much, because there are so many different ways that you can help. And again, I love helping people kind of things. Yeah, I think genetics is a huge part of why I've been so successful in my business.
I think you just answered my next question too.
Oh, did I? I didn't
I
even mean
was
to.
just going to ask you, what do you, there's one thing to be good at something that other people think is difficult, but what do you love doing?
I love helping people,
Yeah.
hands down. Like if I can help someone grow, it makes my life so, so happy. Like I get giddy. I am one of those cheerleader marketing coaches, marketing gurus. I love it. When my client starts succeeding, I tell everyone. I tell everyone, like, oh my gosh, did you know this person did this, this, and this? And that they put off some people, but then it also makes my clients so excited because they're like, you're in this with me. Like you are in this. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Like, let's get the shovels and start digging. You know what I mean? Let's go. But again, that came from my mom. Like my mom was a huge giving person. And I took that from her because I saw so many people love that. And I had a hard time. Again, we talk about like a strength. ADHD is a huge strength of mine, but it was also, it felt like a weakness growing up. And that was something I had to overcome because I was emotional. I was told I was intense, too much, and with that, I realized that I can help people and that overcomes some of that barrier of being intense. But at the same time, intensity is not a self definition that you have to hold. Why not change that to inspirational?
Mhm.
I'm inspired, right? Instead of intense. Like she is got it. She is inspired. She is going places. I'm going to follow her. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. And
Yeah.
she's intense. I'm going to avoid that.
Right. No, I love that reframe. I feel like that changes it changes a lot. And it changes if you reframe that for yourself to like stop labeling yourself in a certain way of being too much, of being intense, and start labeling yourself as someone who's inspired and ambitious and going places.
Hmm.
But I think it also is really good to reframe how you see other people because I think that there is just human nature, this knee jerk reaction to feel some sort of way about people who come across differently than you do. And if
Hmm.
you're able to reframe yourself and always look at other people in a positive light with the benefit of the doubt and try and to give that grace, I think it just makes you a happier and more successful person in general.
I agree. So, Hannah, what do you love doing?
Well, I also love helping people. I think that that's a trait for a lot of people who go into business is that they do it for the greater good of some sort. And
Mm-hmm.
so I do also love that. But I think if I were to be more specific, I think that one of the things that I really enjoy doing is just sitting down with people and having deeper conversations about the obstacles that they're facing, whether it's external obstacles or internal obstacles, and help shed some light and give them clarity on how to overcome those obstacles because all obstacles can be overcome in some way. I don't think I have yet to find any obstacle that I couldn't help someone find a creative solution for at worst. So, and I love doing that.
Right. And that's amazing. That actually goes into our next question. So, listeners, if you haven't been able to follow along, because, I'm ADHD, sorry about that. But what we're trying to get you to understand is, you are the sum of all your parts, right? So, your childhood is one. So, really evaluate that. And then the second one is like, what do you love doing? Because that is something that is in here, right? Like, whether the world put it in there or not, it is deep and it is big. It is big to you because you love doing it. So that is two huge parts. And then another one, which Hannah just touched on, which I loved, love, 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 again, helping people overcome, right? And what is something that you survived?
Mhm.
Because that is trauma. And we're not going to get into the negative trauma because trauma is very helpful. It helps you understand what you do not want to do or be like, and what you do like, and what you do want to be part of. And that helps define you, kind of thing. So, Hannah, what is something that you survived?
Yeah, and I do like to um keep my cards to my chest a little bit. There's some things that are just experiences that I know about and close people know about. But I think to shed light on what comes from those experiences. I feel like one of the outcomes of my childhood and things that I had to overcome in childhood is just this really deep seated lack of self-confidence and an imposter syndrome, for lack of a better term. Feeling like, who am I to ever even attempt to do something so brave or so different? I could never. Look where I came from. Look, who my family is, or look at where I grew up. Even something as simple as just being from the South, I feel like has at some point affected my mentality around how to become the type of successful woman that I envisioned myself.
Hmm.
And I would be lying if I said that I have totally overcome that. But I do feel like I've come such a long way in overcoming those feelings. I have a lot of confidence in my abilities. And I do feel more and more as I am in my business, as I am doing what I love, I feel less and less like an imposter. Like, this is where I belong because this is where I am.
Yes, yes, yes. Girl, that hits deep because think about it. Again, we talked about it. What do you love? If you follow your heart, you can't go wrong. You really can't. And I'm talking about follow your heart in doing better for yourself, not going and eating all the sugar that you want in the world, because that is me. And that is like my kryptonite. I can't even tell you. But like, yes, 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 yes. You got me. You got me. I have goosebumps, girl. Like that was so good. That was beautiful. Yes, ladies, define yourself. Figure out who you are. Who is the beautiful person listening to this? What is the sum of all her totals? What definitions she want to define herself as? And
Mhm.
what definitions does she not want to define herself as? And then walk into the world as that person and don't you dare apologize for it.
Well, and
You
I'll
know?
tell you, that was a big shift for me because I feel like it's really easy to look at your environment and tell yourself something negative about where you are. But if it
Mm,
works that way, the flip side works too. If you are in a room that you feel like you shouldn't belong in, you should remind yourself that you're there. You are
mhm.
there. You're in the room. That is where you belong.
Yes.
What
If
about you,
you're
Pam?
okay, I'm gonna add one little thing to that because girl, that was so good. If you are invited if you are invited, you are welcomed and you belong there.
Mhm.
If you are invited. My goodness. Yes, yes, yes. So me, things that I overcome, your answer was so solid with mine, like confidence. I started a business. I taught myself everything I flip and know. And I took forever to make money in my business because my mom gave everything away. She was such a giving person. So that's conditioned inside of me to give and give and give and give. So I had to overcome that and see my self worth. And then on top of, I taught myself everything that I know. And we're taught in society, degrees are valuable, very, very important. And I didn't have one in what I do. Like I have a degree, but not in what I do now. And so I'm like, am I valuable? Can I charge for this? Because I don't know if what I know is enough. I don't
Mhm.
have a degree to back it up, kind of thing. So I had to overcome that because here's the thing. Once you get yourself into rooms because you're invited because of your certain career field, certain job placement that you have, talk to those people because they're just human beings just like you and they have their own journeys just like you. And once I started talking to these people, I realized I could talk to them on those topics that I was so insecure about. Like I taught myself for 3 years, which I still teach myself SEO because SEO, AEO, GEO, you do not need to stop that stuff. But once I started being able to keep conversation, and sometimes I was talking circles around some people that have degrees in search engine optimization, guys, like and marketing. They minored in, SEO and web design. And I'm talking circles around them. And this is a woman that felt like she didn't belong there kind of thing. So that is something with my business is a huge, like I pat myself on the back. Like I did this. I'm smart.
You are smart. And
Okay.
you did do that, and I think that that's really important too. You don't think twice when you order a sandwich at a restaurant, but you know how to make a sandwich. Like, not everything that you're doing or charging for, and we're just talking about business right now, this also applies to just life and experiences. And when we talk about rooms, we're not just talking about business conferences, we're talking about your home. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking about wherever you're going with friends, the mom like groups. If you are invited, you belong. You don't have to shrink yourself and be an
No,
observer. You
no,
belong in
no.
those spaces. And I think that when it comes to something like not having a degree in the thing that you're doing, I feel like that's such a big trigger for a lot of women, a lot of people who try to make a better life for themselves and start businesses, but they didn't figure out what they wanted to do until later in life. So they didn't create that foundation early in life, going to college for a specific thing, but you don't have to. The best knowledge, the best teacher is experience. And you
Mm-hmm.
showed that when you were talking circles. I know what a marketing degree looks like. I don't have a marketing degree, but my husband does. Let me tell you, you would talk circles around my husband who has a bachelor's in marketing, okay? So, just because that's not what he does though. He has a marketing degree, but he doesn't use it in the same way that you market and you have a business. So, experience, It's not like riding a bike. You get better, and if you don't flex that muscle, you lose it, especially in an
Mhm.
industry that's ever changing.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. And that also goes to self-defining. If you want to be something different, if you wanna have a different definition of yourself, whether that's a more punctual or self-disciplined, you have to flex that muscle. You have to work on that muscle and show up as that as often as you possibly can to be that. That's just how it works, right? Life is experience. So we are coming to the end of this a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more, just ask a couple more questions. But I hope you've enjoyed this, ladies. I hope that with this, you can see a different you, a future you kind of thing. Hey, gals, if you love what you're hearing and you want to get more involved, because trust me, I love Go Getter Gals. I'm obsessed with it. If you love this podcast as much as we do, all you have to do is go on our Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and we're under Go Getter Gals. We are going to have all of our episodes on the podcast link on our website at go-gettergals.com. Thank you for allowing me to interrupt for just a second. We look forward to continuing to help you grow. Without further ado, here's the Go Getter Gals podcast. So, Hannah, do you want to let's do something fun. Let's do something fun real quick.
Okay.
Define yourself, Hannah, in 5 words or less.
Oh, that's difficult, but I have been thinking about this because I knew you were gonna ask me this question.
Mhm.
So I have been thinking about it, and I feel like the number 1 word will always be mom. I became a mom. It's a strong part of my identity. It's who I am, and I'll always label myself that first. But I also like words like strategist. I feel like that really makes me feel like that version of myself that I wanna be when it goes back to that self-confidence of, like, sometimes I feel like I worry that I'm not smart enough, and when
Mm,
I hear a word like strategist, it just sounds smart, and
I
it's
love that.
true. So, mom, strategist, encourager, I don't know if that's the right
Mm,
word. I like to encourage people. I like to build people up and get them through their obstacles. Builder. I like to build things. And I think visionary. That's a strong one. And it was hard to put that on my list because I work with a lot of visionaries. And these are people who have huge visions of their businesses, multi-million dollar companies with paths I could only ever dream of. But I think I could consider myself a visionary, if only for my own life and the vision I have for life. Dreamer, visionary. I think those kind of go hand in hand.
they do. They very much do. Yes. But dreamer and visionary, which one sounds more and like that hits harder?
Visionary,
Yeah.
because and I'll tell you, it's because dreamer sounds like it's unattainable, but a
Right.
visionary, a vision for my life is like solid goal. I see it, I
Mm.
envision it, and I can reverse engineer a vision, but a dream is just a wish.
Hmm. Think about it this way. Again, I'm all about branding, right? Dreaming is the beginning.
Mm,
Visionary is you created the vision from the dream. Yeah. So I I love gosh, I love this stuff, guys. I love it so much. Words are so valuable. And I hope you get that from this. Like how you define yourself, words are so valuable and they are defined differently by different people, kind of thing. So, what is the word? What are the 5 words that define you? Mine, like yours is like 5 separate words: mom, strategist, encourager, builder, visionary. Mine is country gal who loves growth. That's a sentence. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, but both of them are so good. They're beautiful because you have so many different ideas of everything that defines you, and it's a different way of looking at things in the broader spectrum. Mine, I narrowed in again, branding, right? The message of if I were to die tomorrow, I would like to be known as a country gal who loved growth through connection, help people grow, kind of things. I love that. I love that. I love that.
So, okay, going back to what we've been talking about this whole episode, we've talked about how to define your identity and how that is your childhood skills, what you're passionate about and what you're good at, and then also the things that you've overcome, your grit or your drive.
Hmm.
And I guess my question for you would be, how do you answer all those questions, define your identity, and then use that identity to help you grow into the person that you wanna be?
Once you start defining, you start seeing clearer.
Mhm.
The path starts opening up around you because you start seeing what you don't want to be and don't want to be defined as much as you see what you want to be defined as. And once you start doing that, you start becoming that person. You honestly start holding yourself accountable to that.
Mhm.
When I came here, I created Go Getter Gals, short story, created it, and the mission is grow through connection. So you better believe everything I did evolved around that. And I had somebody ask me recently, why do you do so much? You do a lot. And I said, I do it because the mission is grow through connection. And if I'm not growing in every way possible I can, then how in the world can I expect the ladies that are following me to do the same? Just
Right.
grow through connections. You see clearer. You start recognizing patterns in your life. It helps you see possibilities too, right? So that way you can start creating a more fulfilled future because you start
Right.
walking the path of who you want to be and not apologizing for it, by the way.
That's right. Well, okay. So then what are some of the things that you see your future self doing that you're not doing right now?
Oh, lady. I want to do a TED Talk so bad, but I want to be asked to do a TED Talk. It's Brene Brown. She speaks on vulnerability. It was one of the very first TED Talks I ever watched. It came out in like 2013, I think. If you haven't watched that, ladies, if you're ex military or you've had a hard life, you need to listen to that because, whoa, we're going to talk about that in a future podcast. That one's going to be good. I'm going to go deep in that. But, anyways, so podcasts. I want to do a podcast so bad. I want to be valuable enough to be invited to do a podcast is what that is.
Mm,
And then my future self is teaching classes, doing conferences, hosting them and being invited to conferences. And then most importantly, my future self, I would like to have a group of wonderful women that want to grow together to come with me and help me create an online community. Because, Hannah, we've talked about this, right? And come together and help and create a beautiful online community that helps women grow every single day and celebrates each other along the way. That's what I do
yeah.
in the future.
So wait, how far in the future?
Oh gosh, I'm hoping we get the group going next year. And for the podcast and the TED Talk and all that stuff, I actually have my first speaking engagement that's paid. It's a good one. I've done speaking engagements and they've been paid locally, but this one is a big one and I'm so excited about it. So that one's this year. So maybe I'm giving myself again that insecurity, right? We talked about that. I'm giving myself 5 years to become that person, but I'm hoping I'm already valuable enough to be able to do those things. And I'm praying every day that I can be everything that these ladies need me to be and everything these business owners need me to be able to do it. So,
I
yeah.
already know that you are. My gut is like, I'm trying to like rewind a little bit and like reel it back because my gut is like, all right, so how do you know what do you need to do to be invited to a TED Talk? Do you know what you need? It's like I'm over here
Stop
like, all
it.
right, let's talk about how to make this a thing instead of just like so I've had to like I'll ask you that after we stop recording.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to turn that question right around to you. I lost my words there for a second. But Hannah, what is something your future self is doing that you're not doing today?
So when I think of that question, I was literally just thinking, what is something I'm not doing right now that I could start doing like in the next 90 days? And so I thought about how, you introduced me to Jim. He's a really great guy locally here that you partner with. And he gave me such a great idea
Ooh.
for doing a mastermind group here locally. And that really just kind of triggered the thought of I really want to be more involved in
Mm,
my direct community, not just like the Wiregrass or the Dothan area, but specifically enterprise. I
mm,
really want to be a part of Enterprise Alabama. I want to join the commerce. I want to lead the Go Getter Gals group locally
mhm.
here. I want to start a mastermind. And I feel like there's really nothing that's stopping me from doing that in the next 90 days.
Awesome. That is so
Yeah.
awesome. All right. All right. All right. Well, lovely ladies, this has been super fun. We are going to close it. We have come to, we are Yeah, my brain. Sorry, ladies.
That's okay. All the info for this episode can be found in the show notes. Make sure that you go and like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, as well as visit our website for the latest episodes at go dash.
Yes, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye, lovelies.
Hey, gals. Thank you for listening to the Go Getter Gal podcast. All of the information for this episode can be found in the show notes. Make sure that you go and like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube. And to find the latest episodes of the Go Getter Gal podcast, you can visit our website at go-gettergals.com. See you next time.